Hi, welcome to this Filmora for Beginners tutorial. I'm Dennis. In this video, we learn how to create a project, import media, and work with media on the timeline. Let's head on over to Filmora. So when we download and install Filmora, this is the start screen that we are met with the minute we open it. Now we have a couple of features. At the top, you can see the biggest button shows you can click and create a new project. But before we do that, let's go through a couple of things. On the left panel, we have 4 features around here. And when we head on to Filmora Cloud, this is their cloud storage. Next, we have the Creators Hub. The Creators Hub is a tab that shows you tutorials from other creators, mostly from YouTube. So you can watch them just inside of Filmora when you click them, and you can learn without necessarily going to YouTube directly. Lastly, we have the toolbox. The toolbox is mostly all the tools that come with Filmora, AI features, and all that. You can find the features in the toolbox just below the new project. These ones here, and you click on this, it goes to the toolbox. So some are here, and more of them are under the toolbox tab. Now, down here, we have local projects. These are projects that you've done, or rather, you've worked on in the past. They are here, and you have the ability to search for a project. You can refresh, and you can change the layout of the projects. The next thing I want us to pay attention to is the aspect ratio. Before we create a project, you need to know what aspect ratio you're creating the project for. In most cases, or by default, the aspect ratio is usually 16:9. That is the standard rectangular aspect ratio. But we have the option to create a 9:16. This is a smartphone aspect ratio, or rather vertical video. And we have some more over here. You can do Instagram and some more. I just stick to the 16:9, and we can click on new project. Once we click on new project, this is the default workspace that Filmora loads. Now, the next thing that we want to do is to import our footage. We'll go to import and click. We'll locate our footage. I want to import these 4 clips. The good thing is we can import multiple clips at once. So I'll just highlight these clips and click open. Once I do that, the clips are imported into the media folder. We can preview them. For example, if I want to preview this, I can hover over the video just to preview it. I can hover over this one. I can hover over this one. You can preview them in the media tab. Alternatively, when I double click this, it goes on over to the player tab. At the player tab, this video is playing. I can hover it and just preview it. Now, please note, we have not yet added this video to our timeline yet. When you look down below, our timeline is empty. We have not yet added any media. So when I want to preview another clip, I'll just double click, and this plays at the player tab. The next thing we want to do is to add our media onto the timeline. So how we do that is we can simply drag this media down below and release it. When we do that, Filmora gives us a caution. The resolution or frame rate of this media does not match the settings of this project. Do you want to change the project settings to match this media? Now, what does that mean? We have the project settings here, which are 25 FPS, but our media is 30 FPS. Now, because I'm sure our media is 30 FPS, I'll match to media. So our project is 1920 by 1080 at 30 FPS. Now, if we look down here, our clip is a bit long. It sort of looks like it fills up the whole timeline, but it hasn't. In order for me to add another clip, I can scroll using the scroll bar at the bottom so that I can add another clip around here. Alternatively, let me go back. I can zoom out of this timeline using 2 ways. One, when you head on over to where the timestamps are, an arrow shows up. When you click and drag this arrow to the left, you have zoomed out of the timeline. When you click and drag the arrow to the right, you are zooming in where the playhead is. So assuming my playhead is at the beginning, and I do that. I'm zooming in where the playhead is. So I'll zoom out of the timeline so that I can view the whole video just like that. Method number 2, we have the zoom out and the zoom in buttons just above here. So when I click the zoom out, it zooms out. When I click the zoom in, it zooms in. So those are the two ways you can zoom in and zoom out on the timeline. Now, when you have multiple clips, let's add these clips. So we have multiple clips. When we want this to fit perfectly to this end, we have a feature called zoom to fit. And this is the button for zoom to fit. When we click that, it zooms to fit all the clips that are on the timeline. With our clips on the timeline, when we scrub through this, our clips are playing. They're playing on the player. The player has two functions. It can play clips on the timeline and it can play clips on the media tab, whichever you choose. When we look at the player tab, above here, there is a drop-down option. You can change the quality that you're viewing to save resources on your machine. Let's assume we have some very heavy, maybe 4K footage, or you have a lot of footage that your machine is struggling to play back. We can reduce the quality of our viewing so that we are able to play back. So what we are viewing here is half the quality of our project settings, but it does not change the quality of the original media. Now, we have imported footage and added it to our timeline. Before we proceed, it would be a good thing to save our project. How do we do that? We can go to File and then Save Project. We can name our project and then we click Save. So that way we have saved our project. And that's it. That's the end of part 1 of our Filmora for Beginners tutorial. On the next one, we learn how to trim and cut in Filmora. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.